mentioned, Trance is doing some feeding here, and there were some indications of that, especially when he came up to the surface that last time. And that's the reason why the whales are here. I was mentioning before we went on that little loop that we did there out to the east that he was just talking about. That what brings the whales to this area is that there's a lot of nutrients being stirred up with the change in the water depth. So shallow water followed by deep water, the currents kind of reach these steep banks or ledges and they get deflected upwards. And so this vertical mixing is then again the perfect environment for that phytoplankton to bloom and attracts little tiny zooplankton, which are animal plankton, all the different kinds of schooling fish that we can see, like herring, mackerel, sand lance, menhaden. Humpback whales are not very picky. They're what we call a generalist species, so they eat lots of different things. And they need about 2,000 pounds a day of food, about 1 million calories to sustain their diet, to put on that blubber layer. Because during the winter time, when these whales migrate down to the Caribbean, they don't eat at all for at least a few months, and they can lose about 1/3 of their body weight. So as they're losing thousands and thousands of pounds, this time of year, if there's food in an area, this is why Trance has likely been in this area we call the funny hump for quite a few days, because there's food for him here. And we always wonder what he's exactly eating. I think it's something probably pretty small, because notice when he comes up, he's not utilizing any bubbles or anything like that. He's coming up sort of just filtering. So kind of describing what filtering means, because there's all sorts of different kinds of whales around the world. And there's actually about 90 different kinds or species of whales, dolphins, and porpoises. And collectively, they're all known as cetaceans, but cetaceans are actually broken up into 2 different groups. And so there are the toothed whales. So toothed whales, of course, have teeth in their mouth, and they use their teeth to tear or rip apart their prey. So, for example, they usually pick off one prey at a time, tear it apart, swallow it whole. They're oftentimes a bit smaller in size because they're not eating as much every day, with the exception of sperm whales. But sperm whales are so large because they're eating a very large prey. They're feeding on colossal squid. Over on the left side here, just came open at 9 o'clock. Notice when he comes up, he sort of surges and his head comes out of